name is Back to Max. Today we're going to be talking about reincarnation. We're going to be talking about children who can remember their previous lives, scientists who are trying to debunk reincarnation for millions of dollars, and evidence from an ancient scripture, Bhagavad Gita. Why is reincarnation important? Because if you don't understand it properly, you might end up like one of these guys. So what actually is reincarnation? People in general describe reincarnation as taking a new body. After the destruction of this body, I have to take another one, be it an elephant or a crocodile or another human being. But the general concept is that after the destruction of this current body, it doesn't end there. I have to go again into a new body. Reincarnation, to retake, carne, new flesh. Reincarnation is no longer a taboo topic. In the Middle Ages, it would have been blasphemous, outlandish to talk about reincarnation. But nowadays, pop culture is rich with references to reincarnation and past lives. So people in general are discussing reincarnation. Pop culture is rich with references to reincarnation and past lives. We have music, TV, but is there any evidence for reincarnation? Is it provable by science, by study? Or is it more of a religious dogma, more of a belief? Let's take a look. Sometimes children recollect their experiences of past lives. One such prominent example, Ryan Hammonds, was born in Oklahoma. He was 5 years old, and in a previous life, he believed that he had been a Hollywood actor. He started telling his mother, "Take me home, back to Hollywood." So naturally, his mother became a little concerned. She was doing some research, and she found a book on old Hollywood. It contained pictures of scenes from movies around the time of 1930 and 1950. In one such pictures, Ryan Hammonds confirmed that one of the Hollywood extras was indeed him. The extra was Marty Martin. He happened to be a Hollywood actor, a singer on Broadway, and he starred in films with Mae West. He even started from an extra and moved all the way up to an agent, very consistent with Ryan's claims. If that's not enough evidence, Ryan then confirmed 55 specific details about the life of Marty Martin according to his account. Such details would not have been available without an extended investigation. For example, there was the name of the street, details about his wives and children. But let's say Ryan's story is a hoax. The parents made it up, they wanted money and fame. But what if someone had an opportunity for all the money, all the fame? Not just any money, but a lot of money. $1 million. Ian Stevenson was given a grant for such an amount of money to disprove reincarnation. Ian Stevenson was a renowned psychiatrist from the University of Virginia. Ian Stevenson's research work was so extensive, he found 3,000 children who would give accounts of past lives. The children would tell Ian how they had died in a previous life, and then Ian would be able to match up a person's life experience with that of the description of the child. The children would have bodily abnormalities that corresponded to the previous life's cause of death. For example, one of the children that Ian Stevenson researched was shot on a bike in the head, and in his current body he had a birthmark in the same place. Ian Stevenson's research work was conclusive and specific. It was praised by the physicist Doran Kuhlmann-Wilsdorf. She earned a prestigious Hein Medal from the German Society for Material Sciences, and she confirms the statistical probability that reincarnation does in fact occur is so overwhelming that cumulatively, the evidence is not inferior to that for most, if not all, branches of science. So this is some overwhelming evidence. Our spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, has given a Vedic definition for this phenomenon, Jata Smaran, one who can remember the past life. How could someone who is given a grant for $1 million reject the idea that reincarnation is incorrect? It's just a theory, it's just a belief. Well, part of the fascination with the concept of reincarnation is that we have an opportunity to do better in the next life. Stafford Betty, a professor of religious studies at California University, Bakersfield, confirms, with reincarnation, there is always another opportunity. The universe takes on a merciful hue. It's a great improvement over the doctrine of eternal hell. Another interesting point about this whole concept of reincarnation is that we now have to become acutely aware of our present actions. What I do now actually will bear a consequence in the future, and I can't escape it, because my experience will not end at the death of this body. Sometimes we may act irresponsibly, we might damage the environment or hurt someone's feelings, but we minimize these on the premise that we don't have to live at a certain point. We don't have to face the consequences of our actions. But with reincarnation, we have to, at some point in the future, face the resultant reaction for what we do. So this makes each person more aware of how they're acting. It makes people responsible. It makes people more of a moralist, more responsible to all other living entities. Okay, but let's say Ryan Hammonds is a liar and Ian Stevenson's work is faulty. We don't have to rely on the account of a boy, and we don't have to rely on the faulty research work of Ian Stevenson. We can instead rely upon the perfect philosophy that Krishna gives in the Bhagavad Gita. Dehi namin yata dehi. You are not this body. It's quite simple. We are reincarnating all the time. We had the body of a young boy, and now we have the body of a young man or a young woman, and then we'll have the body of an old man or an old woman. But still there's one part that's not changing. The observer, the person within the body. He's staying the same throughout all the various changes of the body. In fact, you could say the body is reincarnating all the time. Modern science confirms this. Every 40 minutes the blood corpuscles are renewing and the skin cells are coming in and out of existence. So actually we have a new body every day. Several new bodies every day. Several new bodies every day. If you zoom in deep enough into the reincarnation of our bodies, it can be seen actually that the material body has no factual existence. Constantly, the organs and the skin cells are recycling. New energy is being consumed by foodstuffs and then recycled out. But still, the conscious observer is still there the whole time, observing the changes. But we don't notice the phenomenon because it's a smooth cycle. It's kind of like a film reel. If you go and see a movie and you look at the film reel itself, you'll see there's many frames. But when they're put into the spool, it's going fast, it appears like a smooth movie with no obvious transitions. So similarly, this body is going through these various changes, but we don't notice it because it's so smooth. For example, your parents, when they see you grow up, they don't notice the changes. They see you as the same son or daughter the whole time. But if a distant relative sees you maybe after 2 or 3 years, they notice that you've grown up. So you are reincarnating as we speak. Why is it important to know if we're reincarnating or not? Why is it important to understand reincarnation? Because the same person who's watching this video and asking that question, he doesn't know who he is, who you are. The same person who's watching this video, you don't know who you are. Say you go to a car salesman, you want to buy a nice car, and you ask the car salesman, I want that car. But you don't even know who you are. You don't know who the person is who wants to buy that car. So of what use is the external addition of the car? If you don't know who the person is who wants it, then this is a huge problem. So you must understand who you are. Who are you really, if I ask you? You might say, I'm Tom, I'm Emily, I'm Betty, I'm Susan, I'm Jim, I'm Johnny. Any of these names. You say, that's me. That's who I've been called my whole life. But this is just a name. It was given to you by some nonsense mother who also had a name given to her in the same way. You were given the name at some point after your birth, but before your birth you still existed. You existed maybe as some nameless piece of flesh, but you still existed before you were given a name. So you're not the name. So let me ask you again, who are you? If you say, well, I'm not the name, maybe I'm an American, or I'm an Englishman, or a Spanishman, or an Italianman. Okay, so let's say you're from America. You want to talk about America? Let's talk about America. America was named by Amerigo Vespucci, some nonsense rascal who named it because he was a cartographer. But of what use is that name? A cartographer, he makes maps, and the maps are useless. He draws it from not even the right perspective. It's a bird's eye view, and he's on a ship. It's meaningless. No one even uses a map anymore. They use a GPS. So you named yourself an American, and it's useless. You're a nonsense for that. So you might say, well, I'm not the name. I'm not Tom. I'm not Betty. And I'm not an American. I'm not an Italian. I'm black. I'm white. That's it. That's the answer. No. Again, you're a nonsense. Michael Jackson, he was black and white in one lifetime, so how can you be black and white? These are all false designations. You're a complete idiot for accepting them. The most perfect explanation of who you are, Krishna says it so clearly. You are a pure consciousness. You're observing the changes of this body. You're not any of the designations. You're the person who accepts the designations. You are consciousness. And this consciousness is separate from the body. Because the body is going through so many changes, but you're still remaining. Even while you've been watching this video, your body has been going through so many changes. By the time you finish this, trying to understand it, your body has already changed. So how can you be the body? You're not. You're something different. You're the consciousness observing said changes. Wow, all this talk about reincarnation has really got me thirsty. I'm gonna go have to fill up my water.
The world is not the same anymore. Mankind has undergone tremendous social, political, industrial, and psychological transformations. This is an intimate insight to the lives of the people on Earth 1,000 years from now on. Enjoy.
Kali Yuga 3000, 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 Kali Yuga 3000.
Why one? Come, why one? Come quick. The dinner is ready.
Thanks, Mom. But, I don't do human flesh anymore.
Darling, I think we have a problem here.
We have no right to kill the homeless just to satisfy our tongues. Come on! It's just gross! They are also human beings, and they deserve to live like we do. Why do we have to kill those poor homeless guys?
You're gonna eat what your mom cooks. You have no respect for your mom, neither for me, neither for your family. If you don't like it here with us, why don't you go out in the street and live outside, huh?
I totally get what you're saying, Dad, but you'd have no right to interfere with my independence, because I'm old enough, so go to hell.
But, what about your protein?
Chill, Mom. There's plenty of protein in animal meat. There have been cultures that have been living on animal meat for ages, and they're perfectly fine. Abstaining from human meat is perfectly healthy, it's natural, and no one has ever died from it.
You're mixing the two, Y1. Meat, that is animal protein. In order to develop nicely, you need human protein. Just think about it, for God's sake. If people hadn't started eating humans, where would we be? Eating human flesh. It was such a big leap for our civilization. It completely changed our way of thinking. Hadn't we started eating human flesh, we wouldn't have such a nice developed brain. Wait, I'm gonna send you a mind mail about it.
Okay. Boring.
I told you, sweetie, we should have done an abortion. But no, you wanted to have it your own way.
Look, Y1, why don't you go to your room and play some iGod, and I'll go check if I can find some non-human food for my little champion, alright?
I was just about to do that.
Would you stop sitting there? And please, serve me my flesh already. I'm starving.
Wow, that took longer than expected. Dr. Stanislav Grof, an expert at interpersonal psychology, gives a wonderful explanation on how the soul is different from the body. Check this out.
The reason why we have this belief in psychiatry that consciousness is the product of the brain, because we see close correlations. If you have a temporal tumor, it's associated with certain changes of consciousness, which are different from, let's say, prefrontal tumor. But what is really erroneous is the conclusion that was made that this is a proof that consciousness actually is generated in the brain. And to see what I'm talking about, you can look at the television, where we have a similar kind of connection. If something happens to the television set, it's going to get reflected in the quality of the picture, the quality of the sound. Now, what does that say? All that says that there is a systematic correlation between the functioning of the set and the program. Where the program is coming from is a whole other question. This doesn't prove that the whole program is actually generated in the television set.
Reincarnation is perfectly logical. There's no better explanation. Like and share this video, and subscribe to this channel so we can kick on the face together.